Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Great pleasure for me to be invited in this honorable forum where I can share my opinion and my ideas on international cooperation. We have been listening to an excellent presentation from Professor Mario Pinardo, who has presented how we publish in international journal. Publication is actually the end result of research. So I'll talk more on research. But as there is no one from outside Indonesia, should I deliver my speech in English or in Bahasa Indonesia, Pak Moderator?
Yes, because international conference, so should be in English.
Okay.
But you can mix once in a while on the way you are delivering your speech.
So champo, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'll share my slide so you can find my slides on the chat. This is my presentation title, how we can build international collaboration successfully, and I'm going to see the challenges and opportunities. So let's start. This is the data from the Ministry of Research, the latest one, which is published in last year actually. 2020 has not been published yet, but the report ended 2019 has been out. We see here from the statistics that the speed of publication of Indonesia is going very rapidly. If we compare in 2014, for instance, we are only 1/3 of Malaysia, but now we already exceed Malaysia. Even in 2000, our publication, the total publication, the international publication of the whole universities and institutions in Indonesia, even one university in Malaysia. But now, in 2019, in ASEAN, we already reached #1. But this is quantitatively, not qualitatively. Let's look on the quality. So on the quantity, we are #1. But when we see the quality from various measures, either from citation per document, from citable document, and also from its index, apparently we are just #4. Malaysia, which is less than us, the number of publication is less than Indonesia, even the second on the rank. So we see here there is a big problem on the publication quality. Publication quantity, we are okay. So sorry. So we are already on the highest, 35,000 publication. Singapore is only 22,000 publication, which is only more or less three-quarter of our total publication. But on the quality, Singapore publication is twice as.
Pengantarnya juga bahasa Inggris.
Halo.
Hello, go on. Yes.
Yang tidak bicara ya, maaf.
Yes.
So this is the fact that we see here that there is a big problem in publication quality of Indonesia. And then I do some search and research on try to look why this problem exists. We have so many publications, but on the ranking, we are still on the 3rd after Vietnam and Philippines. The lowest was Philippines, the second is Vietnam. But we are less than Thailand, even than Thailand. So there is an interesting finding. Imago Research Group, we plot the number of citation impact with the international collaboration. It is interesting here on the high upper right upper. It is the countries that has so many international collaboration. It can be seen from this chart that also the oops. So the impact is also, if we normalize into two, is the highest. While countries with less international cooperation, for instance, China, Turkey, and in Indonesia, so on the lower left-hand side, we see three countries, Turkey, Indonesia, and China, is the least countries with international cooperation on research, but also they have the lowest citation impact. So this chart shows us that international collaboration is important in doing research. So the title of the seminar is very important, I think, to make us understand that doing international collaboration on research is important because it will bring research quality from our publication. We already achieved the quantity, and now let's move to the quality. And to increase the quality, the international collaboration is important, as seen in this chart. So what is actually international collaboration? International collaboration basically is based on networking. Why the quality of publication increase with the increase of collaboration? Because there are several reasons. At least we can see there are 7 reasons here. First, the more collaboration we make, then the more knowledge and the more ideas that we can get. In the previous speaker session, there are some questions about how we can get novelty, how we can know that our publication is genuine and things like that. By doing international collaboration, then we can get new ideas and get new things. So our research will be having more novelties degree than. The second is by having collaboration, we have knowledge from different fields and also different skills and also different culture. We know that writing is not in our DNA. Indonesian DNA is not writing, not even reading. In our DNA, we are listening because from the ancient times, the performance that we see is always something that we can see. For instance, the performing arts like wayang or other performance. In the old time, even reading is only for the family in the palace, for the ningrats, for the family of the kings. So that's why, in my opinion, maybe it's wrong, that reading, not even writing, is not in our culture. It's not in our DNA yet. In our DNA is more on talking and listening. So having international collaboration who have big cultures in writing, then we can get advantage on that. The third importance is we can have more human resources and more financial resources. We know that research is expensive things. So by having collaboration with other countries, then we have more resources in financial and also in human capacity in doing research. The fourth is we can learn from others, from others' experience, from other country experience on how they can write quality papers, on how can they do quality research, something like that. We can learn from them. As I mentioned, because research is just even after our independence, I think the research was just started in 2014 when the Minister of Education at the time pushed all lecturers to write publication as a mandatory things. Before it's not. But in the recent days, we see that the government, especially the Ministry of Education, push us to do more publication and more publication. So research is also young in our culture. The fifth reason is there is a big possibility to have a better product, better papers, more quality and higher quality papers than if we do by ourselves. Especially like that has been mentioned by the director of the Polytechnic, that English is one of our problem. I myself, I did my master's and my PhD in Australia, but still my English is horrible. So because English is not our other mother tongue, it's okay. Like we see that even Professor Mario English is also maybe it's the same as us. But having a collaboration with researchers from English-speaking countries will also improve our the quality of our papers, especially in the English side. And next is having collaboration will build more larger possibilities to have another collaboration with other country. So, for instance, if we have collaboration with Italy, for instance, then we can open another collaboration with other country. I myself, I built collaboration with Australia. Then from then, I open another possibility of having collaboration with the UK, with Canada, and also with the US. And the last importance is the positive human context is also brings our future. So having good contacts in other countries, maybe we will have benefits for sending our staffs, sending our students to pursue higher education or to continue higher education, because we used to have a collaboration with them. So this is the seven aspect of why networking is important. Now let's go to collaborative research. Collaborative, the root of collaborative is labor. It means collaborative is co-labor. It means working together, co-labor. So collaborative research it means that researchers is spending some of their time doing research with other researchers from other institutions. So this is the main point of collaborative research, is doing research together. The difference between in Indonesia, maybe the term is kerjasama, which is not exactly accurate, because kerjasama can means cooperative, can means collaborative. Cooperative means working together to pursue one goal, while collaborative working together with many maybe undefined goals. Just work together, and the result may be more than one. So because it involves more than one institution, more than one researchers, maybe from different cultures, with multiple colleagues, maybe from other universities, then there will be some issues like from technology issues like file transfer, emails, sending files, data security, and also some cultural issues. We'll see that later on. So collaborative I can play.
Are you a scientist interested in doing research that directly influences critical sustainability decisions? Are you a decision maker with a complex question that requires the knowledge and tools of scientists? Collaborative research brings together different scientists and practitioners from agencies, universities, nonprofit organizations, or businesses. And together, they frame the issues so that management or policy decisions benefit directly from the research. Collaborative research actively integrates the users of the research into the process, from developing the questions that will guide the work, to framing the project strategy, to generating usable project outputs. The time dedicated to building these strong relationships and working together throughout the project is in the service of the ultimate goal, producing usable science. Collaborative research is characterized by a clearly articulated policy or management need, a collaborative process that provides regular and meaningful opportunities for user input, and a project structure in which both practitioners and scientists influence project scope and design and develop research results and outputs. Collaborative research helps ensure that the strengths and perspectives of scientists, policymakers, and managers are leveraged, and that diverse teams work together to address relevant and pressing issues. Researchers bring scientific expertise, time, and resources, while practitioners bring contextual knowledge and experience and an understanding of the policy and management landscape. Scientists access new data sources and generate results that address current sustainability challenges, as well as contribute to peer-reviewed literature. Practitioners receive science-based information on how to address challenges. Both benefit from building strong relationships and expanding their networks. Doing research with practitioners instead of producing research for them yields benefits for everyone involved. Facilitating and supporting collaborative research is at the core of the University of Michigan Water Center's mission.
It is interesting in the video that collaboration does not only involve researchers, but can also involve industry. So this is very important, especially for vocational schools like Polytechnic, where research must be not on the basic research, but more on applied research. So collaboration with other institutions is important. It's not only with the same university, but maybe with industry. So collaborating with industry in Korea, for instance, or industry in China is also important in this collaborative research. So in this definition, then collaborative research is not only done among researchers among universities, but can also involve practitioners and also can also involve industry institution to develop research together, where the research may be more applied than theoretical. So this is collaboration I've been defined. So what is the benefit of collaboration, collaborative research then? There are 8 benefits of collaboration in research. First is sharing knowledge and skill and techniques, because we can involve not only researchers from university, but can also involve practitioners from the industry. The second is the possibility of transfer of knowledge, skills, and techniques. Maybe there are things that we as researchers in the university doesn't have any knowledge, but the knowledge was in the industry or in the practitioner. But the other side, there are maybe knowledge that in our side, but it's not in the industry side. And the third is different viewpoints. The industry sees from their own viewpoints with the industry paradigm, while we researchers at the university, we see from our viewpoints, which is the pure researchers paradigm. So this will enable cross-fertilization of ideas. We know the practical application of our research, and the industry can get the knowledge on the basic understanding on the product that we develop. The fourth is the probability of intellectual companionship. So in the sharing intellectual property, in this aspect, I would like also to remind that the Minister of Education also currently also pushing on increasing the intellectual property right. So by having collaboration with industry, not just university, will bring us to increase our intellectual property companionship. The fifth is expanding network of research colleagues. This is the same as the benefit of networking. The sixth is the increased dissemination of our work. So imagine if we work also with the industry, then our work will be known and be applied with the industry, not ends in a library. So the most critics to the research by researchers in university is their findings ends in the shelf of the library. Jadi kritiknya adalah begini, banyak peneliti Indonesia itu hasil penelitiannya hanya berbentuk buku atau berbentuk jurnal yang disimpan di perpustakaan, tidak ada gunanya untuk industri. And our country actually needs how our research can be applied in industry. I've been giving an example in various occasions. For instance, we have real problem. For instance, I've seen myself in Pekalongan, for instance. I don't know whether there is participants from Pekalongan, where there is a batik industry. The river was so polluted, but nobody is doing research that is applicable on how to overcome the pollution of the river. Maybe the research not only on the river itself. Maybe they can do research on finding the pewarna, the coloring tools that is environmental friendly, for instance. So actually, we need research like that. We don't need research that is only theoretical, that can that the only end in the journals, but can be also applied in industry. So in this case, then collaboration with industry is important. The seventh benefit is the cost and time saving, because we collaborate with industry, then we can share the cost. And most cases, in my experience, industry, they have money, so we don't need to have we can save our costs, because the research will be funded by the corporation. For instance, the company that I work now is the commissioner of PT Telkom Indonesia. Telkom has a lot of research funding for, of course, something that is related to the telecommunication industry, in 5G, in radio access network, and things like that. We have the money, but we don't have enough manpower to do the research. So that's why we cooperate with universities to do the research. And hopefully the finding of the research will be applicable to the industry. So cost and time saving. But be careful, because the different culture between university and industry, there are also risks. Industry used to have a certain discipline on agenda, on time schedule, and achievement and things like that. While we usually, it's not all, but most of researchers in the university are usually like artists. They like to experiment. They do a lot of things that they like, without sometimes ignoring times, ignoring budget and things like that. Industry has different discipline. So this is some risk that I will discuss later on, that we have to understand the risk, like the different paradigm of industry and university. So two types of collaboration. One is between universities and the research institutes. Basically, this is doing the main goal is for to exchange research information, doing joint research project, and mobility of researchers between projects. But collaboration with industry, usually joint project, and sometimes subcontracting research. We have to know that even industry or university or a company, they have something or problem that must be solved, and they need us as a subcontractor to solve the problem by doing research. The third type is technology transfer, so we can transfer the existing technology that is also in industry, which is usually more advanced than what we have in our campus. But on the other side, we can transfer a knowledge that in our side, which is more advanced, that is more than industry to them. And the fourth is collaboration for marketing, especially for intellectual property rights and distributing research project results. So what is the challenges of doing collaborative research between university and industry then? First is the challenges is how to define goals and field of applied research, because what we do is research that is applicable to industry, not just finding ends in a journal or a Scopus journal, but something that will be applicable to them. So we have the challenges is how do we define goals? I've just mentioned before that industry, they have different paradigm with us. In their paradigm, money, profit, efficiency, uh, uh, discipline, things like, and other things is important. While in our paradigm is novelty, depth, scientific quality, and other things is important. So we have to match these two things. The second challenges is on evaluating the advantages of collaboration between us and industry, especially on which organization that we choose, in what fields, and what area we will do the collaboration. It is possible for a university to have more collaboration with more than one industry, because maybe even one research problem sometimes need partner from more than one industry, different industry, even the problem is the same. So there is a challenge on how we evaluate the advantages of this collaboration. The third is, and when we have the research finding, the research result, how can it be commercialized and by whom? Is it by the industry or by us, by university? So it is a big challenge also that must be discussed. It doesn't mean there is no solution. There are universities that kept the intellectual property rights. The industry just execute them, so the university can use the money for doing further research. But there are also universities that release all the intellectual property right to industry. It depends on how we manage them. And the fourth is we can use the intellectual property that is owned by industry or owned by our partner to strengthen the possibilities of our research. The fifth is we can, the challenge is how we can use local resources, local possibilities, and local market. So even the research will be cooperating with a company. For instance, we are doing a research on electric vehicle with Korea Polytechnic, for instance. But consider the advantage also for our country, not only for them. So how we can benefit the research result also to increase the economy of our country. The sixth is this is the thing that I've just mentioned. Industry and university have different paradigms, so be aware of possible conflict between science and business. Industry only focus on business, while we researchers at the university focus on science, and then we have to make this in agreement. It's not to tend to business side, but also must not be to science side. It must be compromise between both. And the seven is, because what we do is applied research, remember that technology and the world is changing rapidly, especially if we are doing research in my field, for instance, in information technology or computer science. Technology or the word in computer science changes very, very rapidly. So what we, for instance, only 5 years ago we have 4G, but now 4G has been left. Even Indonesia has not been implementing yet. We are going to 5G with different paradigm, different technology, different software, and different almost in every aspect of technology. So it's unlike the basic research. Basic research, for instance, stay the same for more longer time, but applied research changes very, very rapidly. So that's why when we plan for applied research, the time frame must not be long, because if, let's say, more than 2 years, maybe technology already change. So we have to make the time frame more shorter, then because the technology will change also quickly. Then what are the success factor of collaborating between university and industry in doing research, especially with international corporation? There are 8 success factors that must be kept in mind. This is very important. First is researchers in our side must have sufficient knowledge in the field and also qualified and experienced. For instance, if we are doing research in 5G, for instance, then researchers in our side must have a competence in doing research in signal processing, in compression, in data transmission, and other things. The second is important thing is cooperation with other university and company should be open also, not the possibility to other university and other companies. So maybe we have sufficient resources in one aspect, but the other aspect is held by other universities or other companies. Then let the collaboration open also with other universities and other companies. The third is strong commitment and also strong ethics. You know that in the industry there is non-disclosure agreement. Everything that we can get from them must not be published without permission. For instance, we are doing a research. Let's say back to the research on electric vehicle. For instance, we have some information from Hyundai, for instance, or from other electric vehicle corporation. When we do publication, like what as Professor Mario Dinardo mentioned, it must be very careful. There are things that cannot be published because it considers as trade secret. But there are things that can be published. So ethics is important. So respecting each other. We in universities life actually is quite open. Everything we can publish as long as we quote, as long as we give credit. But in industry, it's not. There are things that even we know we cannot publish. I have experience, for instance, when I do a cooperation with JICA, the Japanese funders, to do a research on implementation of open source for education. Then there are some findings that cannot be published. Even the data and the finding was mine, but because the research was collaboration with them, then I have to ask permission from them to publish the data. If they say no, then I cannot publish that. Okay, the fourth is the success factor is teamwork is natural, but because we will involve different culture, different people, then understanding teamwork is important. The fifth is modern research facilities and information channels, of course, because what we are going to investigate is a real problem. Maybe it also current. Then maybe from that case we need modern research facilities. Fortunately, when we collaborate with industry, then usually they provide these facilities. In my experience, usually industry provide all the facilities. We only provide the human resource. The sixth is success factor is the positive and active attitude to invention. So whatever we invented and whatever they develop, then we have always positive and active attitude. So we try to add more and more, not criticize. So positive attitude means when there is something, we try to add and add and add, not subtract or not criticize, even not destroy. The seven critical success factor is good working condition and good working terms. So the term must be clear. Industry, especially corporation, they need clear terms and condition. So what time that we will spend on that research, how much the budget, what is the time schedule, and other things, the term and condition must be clear. So all the team member must understand this and apply and conform to this term and condition. The last thing is the good strategy, of course, because applied research, like I've mentioned before, it have different complications. So a good strategy is important, and high quality result is also important, and also financial strength. So there are cases that research, because of the lack in financial strength, only half can be done and cannot be proceed. So it is a pity actually. So we have to really have this, especially in financial strength, to finance our research. So these are the 8 success factors in collaboration with industry. And especially in industry, we have to, usually there are some agreements that we have to agree upon with industry. First, on financing. The second is on how collaboration is made. The third, which is important, is who will own the intellectual property right or the invention ownership. And then the fourth is agreement on confidentiality on whatever finding that we have, which one can be published, which one cannot be published. It must be clear. And then the fifth is the commercialization agreements, when our research produce commercial product, monetize. Then what is the option on commercialization? What is the license or the technology transfer, and how trade will be done, and things like that. And the sixth, of course, the agreement how to settle if there are dispute or disagreement between us and our collaborator. Usually, research with industry collaboration usually fails. There are also 8 reasons why collaboration fails. First is the invention or the research doesn't meet commercial need or the commercial market. Remember, the goal of the industry collaborate with us is for commercial or market. It's not for Scopus. They don't care whether our publication will be published in Scopus Q1 or Q2 or whatever. They don't care. But what they care is whether it can be monetized, can be commercialized. Of course, that's from their side. From our side, it's different. We have to make quality research to be able to publish in reputable journal. So we have to make agreement on this. The second reason why it fails is researchers usually want to make further research and never get result, because we are so mungkin saya katakan dalam bahasa Indonesia lebih gampang ya. Peneliti itu biasanya asik dengan dirinya sendiri. Mereka tidak peduli dengan waktu, uang, dan sebagainya, ya. Tidak pernah puas. Ya memang it's the nature of a researcher, tidak pernah puas. Sementara industry is not like that. Industry needs something that is sesuatu yang predictable. Jadi kalau sudah cukup untuk mereka ya cukup gitu. For us, sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes we want to go more deeply, do further research. But industry seems maybe they are not interested in that. So this sometimes also a source of failure. The third is a problem in patenting or intellectual property right because of disagreement between the parties. The fourth is shortage in funding. The fifth is marketing or licensing effort doesn't succeed. So even now our research can be commercialized, but actually it doesn't succeed in the market. The sixth reason is missing cooperation or team management or human problem. So because we have different culture, we are like I've mentioned that industry is more disciplined. Peneliti kayak kita ini kan maunya waktu datang seenaknya, santai gitu. Sementara kalau industri kan they have a discipline, certain discipline. Ini sometimes we have a missing cooperation because of the different culture. The seventh reason is too high expectation in both sides. The industry expect too much for us, we expect too much also from the industry. Maybe we expect the industry will provide unlimited funding, for instance. There is no unlimited funding. All funding are limited, so we have to understand that. But industry sometimes also misunderstood us. They think that we are so advanced, understand many things, but actually we are limited in our discipline. There is a strange, in my observation, of course, there is a strange view in industry. Jadi orang-orang industri itu melihat peneliti yang hebat itu tahu segalanya. Padahal dalam dunia penelitian, peneliti yang hebat itu tahunya sedikit tapi mendalam gitu. Jadi seorang profesor misalnya dianggap tahu semua hal. Padahal seharusnya profesor itu tahunya malah sedikit tapi mendalam. Tapi orang industri itu menganggap seperti itu. In industry, good researchers in their view, there are somebody who understand many things. Well, actually, good researchers knows a few things, but very deep. So that can create a wrong expectation. Okay, the eight, especially with small countries. Indonesia is big countries in the term of space, but in the term of research, we are considered as small countries. It's difficult for us to reach strong internationalization. For instance, a university in Indonesia to get a research cooperation with Google or with Microsoft is very difficult. But it's getting better. It's getting better that Indonesia is already being known as also a good country for research. So that's why big companies also start to collaborate with Indonesian universities to do research. But it's beginning. So it's not yet many, but it is starting. There are a few cooperation between, even for instance, with Starlink. You know, Starlink, the internet provider will provide 4,000 more satellites in the sky, owned by Elon Musk. Also start to do or to investigate research collaboration with Indonesian universities. Okay, 10 consideration that we have to consider to make our collaboration with international, especially industry collaboration successful. First is cost. Cost is not only cost for research, but cost for software, cost for line searching, for online tools like Zoom that we are going to use, for instance, and a lot of cost must be considered. And the second is the type of data. Research sometimes not only involve textual data, but sometimes also involve audio and video data, which the consequence is involve very large data sets that must be moved around between countries. So because our collaborator resides in another country, then we have to have a facility to move or to exchange this type of data that may takes a lot of bandwidth, especially if we do research that involve video, audio, and other things. The third is ownership of data. Once we do the research, who owns the data? This must be clearly agreed upon before do the research. Of course, the easiest one is the data belongs to both. But sometimes we do collaborative research with an institution, and then after that, we use the data for our own purpose. Then how do we overcome that problem? So this is a funded project is different with non-funded project. So ownership of data is important to be considered. So another aspect of ownership of data is how we, if we use data from other sources, not from our party, from our collaborator, then who owns the data? Maybe we have data that we buy the data from, for instance, from data sources. There are a lot of corporations that sells data. Then when we buy the data, then because the data was paid using the money that was done on this collaborative research, then who owns the data? Our partner or us? This also must be considered. The fourth is security. Remember that we are doing research, especially involving different organizations. Then when we have findings, how we maintain security of our files, especially currently when we use technology, digital technology, where the files can be transferred or sent to different location, then we have to decide where the research file resides, how we control access to them, how we make our colleagues able to access, but what part or which part can be accessed by them. Whether the files can be accessed 24/7, 365, or only specific times, or only specific folders, or only specific people. This must be carefully decided. The fifth is confidentiality. Confidentiality means that the content of our data means private to us, to the research institution that are collaborating. But research, because involves human subject, involving human, then this human actually can access the data. Then how we can ensure the confidentiality of the data, that the data cannot go outside the boundary of our organization, especially data from industry, which is considered as a trade secret. Industry, they have own data. Then when the data is given to us, for instance, I have an experience doing research on risk manage on credit rating. I get the data from a bank about credit application that are default. Then I have to make sure the data was certain protected, so the confidentiality of the data was protected. Because the data was accessed by researchers, the researcher can see who has a problem with the banks and how much money the banks owe them, then other data like that, which is actually very confidential. So we have to make sure that confidentiality is maintained. The sixth is research ethics. Yeah, I've mentioned before in the previous slide that ethical and truthful collection of accurate data, ownership and responsibility of collected data, and preserving the data is safe and secure, and how which data can be shared, which data cannot be shared, must be fully understood. The seventh requirement is funder requirement. As usually funders, they have a requirement. The industry that collaborate with us, they provide certain money, but also they have some requirement that we have to comply. And also the institution requirement means our university, our own institution, we have our own requirement. So we have to match between funder requirement and institution requirement. The ninth things is functionality. So what we expect from this collaborative research? Do we want to collaborate in real time, or maybe in batch using emails and sending? Taruh aja Pak. Sending email back and forth and things like that. And then how we can access our data? The data can be accessed from anywhere using mobile device, or can be only accessed within our own institution? And then is there a possibility to have a chatting conference and things like that? This functionality will define the collaboration tools, the technology that we will use. How many people, what are different data and things like that. And the last is the location. The location is most important when we select the location, then keep in mind that the needs of our partner. So whether our partner have a similar internet connection, internet access, and things like that. So the last important thing is cultural relation. So we have a collaboration with industry, even with the same country. Industry and university have different culture. More if we collaborate with corporate or industry outside Indonesia, with different countries, they have different culture. Different nation, they have different culture. So cultural relation is important. So how we interact between culture, doing non-coercive interaction, understanding culture is important. The outcome of this cultural relation usually bring us to more greater connectivity, because we can have more connectivity with diverse culture, better mutual understanding, more deeper relationship, because we understand how this is how they behave, this is how they discipline and things like that. And then more beneficial transaction and sustainable dialogue. So last thing is when we do research, of course we need tools, especially if the research was done collaboratively with people or industry in different countries. Fortunately, we have a lot of digital technology tools that we can do for research, starting from announcement tools, calendaring, chat room, file drop, video conferencing, file resources, blackboarding, mobile technology, and things like that. We can use many things. You can search in using Google. There are many collaborative tools that is available, either free or paid. There are things in internet. I would like also to bring focus in this area, because this is important. In the next future, we will enter the new generation of internet, which we call 5G. The 5G is about 100 times faster than current internet speed that we have. Bandwidth will be higher, battery consumption will be lower, but latency will be lower. But the most important things that we can get from this characteristic is we will enter the new era of internet that we call tactile internet. Currently, internet can only can be seen, but in tactile internet we can touch, we can smell. So the research collaboration will be possibility will be open more in the future, not only for physical things, but more on that, like doing collaborative research in chemistry and food technology and things like that, because tactile internet provide us internet that can be touched and also can be smell and also can be sensed. Not only be, currently our internet can be only be seen and be heard, cannot be sensed, cannot be touched, and cannot be smelled. Using 5G, this is possible, and they will be connected. So we will live in hyper-connected world where everything will be connected. So device will be connected. So doing collaborative research will be much easier, because we will all have devices that are connected to internet. These are actually, I try to find tools for collaborative tools, especially for research, but I didn't find yet. But this is for business usually. Collaborative tools usually consist of mobile communication and collaboration, emailing. Unified communication means can be used for video, voice, and also text communication, social collaboration, internet, and document management. These are the layers of collaborative tools. Then we can plot for research what are the available tools in each horizontal solution. This is an example of usually collaborative tools use National Research and Education Network. Internet 2 is an example of National Research and Education Network. It is a non-profit organization, and it is developed by several universities to do collaborative research with advanced application and very high speed bandwidth that ensure researchers to have access to tools and support for the best collaborative research. You can search using Google about Internet 2. Currently, 54 countries has been involved in this Internet 2. These are the countries that use Internet 2 as the collaborative platform. National collaborative research is important because it is essential for international collaborative research. Indonesia, I think we have connect students and also faculty to global academic, and also create foundation for knowledge economy, and also act as a springboard for innovation in the country. This is National Education Network. Okay, I think that's conclude my presentation. I've shared my slides on the chat, so if there will be further question, you can contact me through my cellular number, my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, and other social media that I have. Pak Moderator, thank you very much. I conclude my presentation. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam, Professor Marsudi. You have explained about the differences between academic research and industrial research, and this is quite different between two worlds, between academic and industry. In academic, we are working with ourselves for publication and for presentation in international forum or national forum, but for industry, they tend to think about commercialization of output of research between industry and researcher. Now we go to some question. We still have 5 minutes. Let's see the first questions.
Ibu Sartika itu, Bu Sartika sama Pak Husni Hasib, angkat tangan.
Yes.
Halo.
Hello, yeah,
Halo.
please.
Yes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for the opportunity. First, I'm sorry I cannot turn on my cam because my internet connection is unstable if I do.
Yes, please, Bu Sartika.
Okay. I would like to ask about I'm as a researchers from natural science field, like biology as a part of natural science, not biology education. Sometimes I have a concern about how I do my research is just end up in laboratory. But we also required to fulfill the government role about the linearity of our study with our research. In other hand, we have to like join in industrial, like we give contribution from our research. That was what I want to ask. How we
Yes, go on.
Yes, how we menghadapi ini. I'm sorry. And what do you think, sir? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, please, Professor Marsudi, the question from Ms. Sartika, how to make collaboration with industry, because she currently is working in laboratories, not outside campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good question to Sartika. Biology, I think, is a very important science that can support industry. A lot of industry biology. If we see, for instance, health, food, and other things, it depends on biology. So actually, there is no conflict between linearity and also how we make our research applicable to the society. I've just give you an example before that. In Pekalongan, for instance, the river was so polluted with the batik, tinta batik gitu ya, tinta batik apa? Nah, so I don't know. Maybe in your biology, you can find a special bacteria that can digest the residue of the batik, tinta batik ya, atau warna batik, coloring agent, and digest that, and then makes the river becomes clean again, for instance. I think that's part of biology. It depends on which part of biology you are studying. If you're studying biology, human biology, for instance, there are also many things that can be applied in industry. For instance, in the food, how you can produce food that is uh, uh, good for digestion, for instance. I don't know because I'm not biologist. So even basic science, there are research that can be applied to industry. So don't be worried. Just try to open your mind and see what is actually the problem of industry in your specific area. For instance, I don't know where in which city you live. For instance, just see what industry in that area and see what can biology contributes to the industry to enhance the quality, to enhance the society, and also to enhance the product. I think that's all, Pak Moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Professor Marsudi. Next question.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, next.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Pak
afternoon,
Husni.
Prof. Marsudi. Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. First of all, I would like to say so sorry for not showing my video because my network is also not really working here. And secondly, I also want to say thank you very much for this amazing presentation from Professor Marsudi. I want to ask you about social study field background because I am from the social study field background. My question is that how big the portion of possibility to start a collaboration to any companies or industries for the researchers who are coming from social studies like me, sir? And what steps should I initially do in order to offer the collaboration to industries? For example, I'm from Riau, where the location is dominantly, a lot of palm oil companies there, but it's quite stuck for me to start or initially offer the collaboration because I'm from the social study. But when I heard your presentation, it's really interesting for me to start like offering the collaboration to the companies in my village. Thank you, sir. That's my question.
Okay, thank you, Pak Slamet Husni. Your question will be answered by Professor Marsudi because you are from social science. How to connect your social science with industry?
Okay.
Please, Pak.
Yes.
That's
Thank you.
also interesting. Pak Selamat, which specific field of social studies you are in?
I'm from English education, actually, sir.
Okay. There are many things actually if we talk about social studies. Actually, the end product of all industry is related to social studies. For instance, observing consumer behavior, CSR, and other things. So social studies has, I think, the broader chance than other field, especially the engineering field. Engineering field is very limited, but social studies is very wide. So, for instance, in your area, English education, for instance, maybe you can do collaboration with industry there. Of course, in industry they have machines, they have employee. So, doing a research on, is there any correlation between English competence with the accident in the industry, for instance, because they misunderstood the manuals or whatever, or maybe doing the collaboration research on giving corporate social responsibility of the corporation in your area, also provide corporate social responsibilities, and then you can involve in making their corporate social responsibilities more focused, more giving result other than just social contribution, because most of corporate social responsibilities just sumbangan saja yang hasilnya itu tidak ada dampak. So maybe you can do cooperation with that. Actually, if we open our ideas, there are a lot of things. Then, in my opinion, but don't quote this because many people don't like my opinion. In my opinion, focus is not important. So even I say in many occasions, if I'm the minister, I will menghilangkan kewajiban Scopus. Nggak penting Scopus itu. Tapi yang penting adalah how can our research bring benefit to our country. That is more important. Di semua aspek ya. So this is, I think, the same as Bu Kartika. Try to open the possibility of when you do them, maybe you can understand their problem and try to solve the problem. But the problem, of course, is connection like that. So, internet is also important. That's why you have not very good internet problem. Maybe you can also do research on how to increase the internet penetration in your area, and then you can collaborate with Telkom. Telkom in Riau, for instance, you can find in villages in which villages internet is not good, and then you talk to Telkom, do a research there, and then Telkom will need that for marketing. So Telkom can plan the network to install the towers in because Telkom needs that information. We don't know about all Indonesia. Indonesia is very large. Even Riau, we don't really understand village by village. If we can get information in what village there is a internet problem, then we can do give a solution, for instance. And then you can do publication. One of Australian alumni from my university, from Curtin, she get an award from Curtin University because she did a research on how to provide internet connection for a rural area, and she worked with Telkom. So the research was funded, and also the research was also published in a Scopus journal, because in the Western world, internet is just like air, but they never imagined that in Indonesia there are villages that even when you try to get internet signal, you have to go to the top of the tree, ya, di mana itu di Sumatera Barat yang harus naik ke atas pohon untuk dapat internet. Things like that happens in Indonesia, and that needs research from your side, from social sciences. Actually, there are many things, Pak. If we talk, maybe it will take hours to talk about the research ideas on its. So just don't be hesitate to contact me. I think I've given my cellular number.
Yes.
So just contact me through my cellular number through WhatsApp or whatever. We can discuss individually, maybe. Thank you.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, Prof, for the answer. Thank you.
Okay, you are welcome. Because time is up, Professor Marsudi, thank you very much for your presentation. And I think all audience can ask committee to have Professor Marsudi contact number or email if you need to make further connection. Okay. Thank you very much. And I will return the chairs to the committee to arrange the closing of this international webinar. Thank you very much and selamat sore pada semua audience.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much for the moderator, and also we also thank for the ladies and gentlemen, Bapak Ibu. In the last session, we'll take documentation for this one. So please turn on your video, and then we will take the photo together. Yes, there are 16 slides. So we will check together. Okay, I will check for the first slide. Please wait. Okay, the first slide. The second slide, please. Okay, and the third slide. And the fourth slide. The fifth slide. The sixth. The seventh. Eighth. The 10th. 12th. 11th. 12th. 13th. Okay, thank you very much for yes, thank you very much for your attention and joining in this webinar collaboration. See you for the next webinar. That's all for me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye. See you next webinar.